and welcome back. I am doing a 6-month kind of wrap up, catch up. I do set a reading goal and like a few reading goals a year. Let's look at how I've gotten on with that. And I'm also going to tier rank all of the books I've read so far this year. I have read 23 books so far. My goal is actually 35. I am ahead of where I need to be. I'm actually about 2/3. The types of things I've been reading a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy. So they are actually tied for my top genre. I've read 14 romance books and 14 fantasy books. The way Storygraph does their genre stats is they just kind of, it's a yes or no, you know? If the book is a romance and a fantasy, they put it down for both rather than just one. A lot of them are overlap, but obviously there's been a few that don't overlap, which we'll actually get into when I go through all the books. My most read authors are Cassandra Clare at number 1. I've read 4 Cassandra Clare books this year. This is the year of Cassandra Clare, clearly. Then Stephanie Garber, I think I've read 3 of her books this year. Ali Hazelwood is joint 3rd with Lauren Roberts, because I've read 2 of Ali Hazelwood's and 2 of Lauren Roberts this year. My best month, surprise, surprise, was April. And I've mentioned this before, April is usually my most productive month every year. It's not a shock, to me anyway, that April has been my best month so far. We'll see if we can beat that. I read 7 books in April. And finally, my average rating is 4.4. I do think that is fairly skewed. There's been a lot of books I was really excited for, but also I assume you've seen, I don't know, but I revamped my rating system to take into account different factors. So now my rating system isn't really, it doesn't work with like a 4-star, 5-star, it is like 4.2. 4.3, 4.5. There's a lot of decimal points. It's all the decimal points because I have my different categories and I average out the rating depending on how the book performs in each of my categories and what I care about in different genres. Apps like Storygraph and Goodreads do not take that into account. Storygraph's a bit better. It lets you do 0.25s, whereas Goodreads does not. So I've just been rounding for the ratings, hence why I have so many 5 stars. Not all of the things that are in 5-star are actually 5 stars. They could be like a 4.8. I like doing it this way. What you're here for, the tier list. First, I'm going to introduce you to my tiers. For the A, B, C, D, I wanted my tier names to be related to the letter. So, for example, D, delete from my brain. This is clearly the books I wouldn't say regret reading, but I definitely wouldn't read again and would kind of happily give away. Think they're kind of taking up too much space in my brain. C is could have been great. You were good, but you could have been better. B is Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. How I feel about Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version is I like it. I really like it, but I preferred the original. So this tier is it's good, it's actually really good, but I know there's better out there, i.e. Better Than Revenge, not Taylor's version, which is now kind of Taylor's version too because she owns her masters. And sticking with Taylor Swift theme, in A, it's actually All Too Well, Taylor's version. I love this song so much. It is in like top 5 of Taylor Swift songs for me. 10 minutes of fantasticness, but it's not my number 1. Don't really know what my number 1 Taylor Swift song is. That's a loaded question. There's a lot of things to think about when you ask about Taylor Swift, but All Too Well, Taylor's version, top 5, easy. And that's where the real high ranking books are going. There's just one step above, and that is Hall of Fame. So these are the best of the best of the year so far. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to limit Hall of Fame to 3 books, which is tricky for me because I feel like I enjoy anything that's just good vibes. Let's see how well this goes. Let's kick this off with The Fellowship of the Ring. This is very happily going into All Too Well, Taylor's version. I really loved Fellowship of the Ring. I didn't think I would. I filmed like a third of a video all about this book and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. That was such a shock to me because I spent my life avoiding Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to read the rest of them too someday when I eventually stop being held down or toppled by my TBR. It fits nicely in All Too Well, Taylor's version. Next we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I'm going to put you in Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. I really liked it. I liked the video game side of it. I liked seeing two designers and devs working on video games and the relationship they have with each other and others. But there is better out there, in my opinion. Next, we have Cassandra Clare, The Notable Shadowhunters and Denizens of the Downworld. And I'm gonna put that also in Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. I love the flower cards. I love this Kickstarter, liked all the updates, and Cassandra Jean, who is the illustrator of the flower cards, her style has come on and developed so strongly since the original flower cards. But let's be real, there's not much going on in that Cassandra Clare book. I also did find a typo, so, you know, it could have been better. I still really like the update. Next, we have Deep End, which is almost between two tiers. But for now, I'm going to commit to All Too Well, Taylor's version. The thing about Deep End, I was out here defending her with my life when she came out, and I stand by all of it. I adore Deep End. I would reread it now if I didn't, again, have the toppling TBR. But is it top 3? That's a tricky spot to secure. I'm putting Deep End in All Too Well, Taylor's version, but if I change my mind, I'll move it, but because there's some high ticket contenders coming down the line. Next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I'm also going to put her in All Too Well, Taylor's version. I love you so much, Once Upon a Broken Heart. When I started it, thought it was okay. Halfway point-ish, everything hit me. I was suddenly in love with this book. Maybe it crept up over time. I really love this series, as you are going to see. Next, we have Onyx Storm. I'm gonna put her in Could Have Been Great. I'm learning a lot about myself through my fantasy journey and reading kind of book talk romantasy books. And one of the things I'm kind of learning is that the Fourth Wing series, while enjoyable in my opinion, that's it. The characters don't stick with me, the plots don't stick with me. If you ask me to summarize that book, Onyx Storm, right now, I'd be like, they're flying a good bit, there's a problem with this guy, no spoilies. Violet's kind of reeling, is that her name? It's Violet, right? From things that happened at the end of last book. Don't blame her, that's kind of And then it ends in a pretty interesting way with a lot of implications set up for the next book. Do I care when the next book comes out? Not really. I feel like Yaros just somehow could have done more with the series, and I really don't care that much for the next one. I'll read it. I'll definitely read it. I don't know if I'm ever going to give it a 5-star again. Fourth Wing can keep its 5-star. The other two, no. I don't think Onyx Storm is actually a 5-star. Next, we have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. And that's going in Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version, not All Too Well. Thing about Swordcatcher is, and I've spoken about this with multiple of my friends who have also read the book, and we all kind of think that Swordcatcher, while good, could have been better. Like, it was still really good, but I think there was too much going on to understand the character relationships and the implications for the world. So I reread it in preparation for the second book coming out. And when I reread it, the book was so much better than the first time I read it. I was literally having this conversation earlier today, and what we have come to the conclusion is that it might be because you're no longer worrying about the world building and stuff because you kind of get the way everything's set up and how it works. You're only really reading for the plot, obviously what's going on, but also the character dynamics and the way people are with each other, and maybe that's why it hit harder and better the second time. So if you're a bit unsure about Swordcatcher, I'd recommend reading it a second time. Ragpicker King, Finally, a Cassandra Clare book where it belongs. I loved Ragpicker King. I loved preparing for it by rereading Swordcatcher. I loved waiting for it. I got it, I think it was a day or two before it came out. My local bookshop had it out early. I snatched it. I snatched that thing up and I was like holding it in my arms like, you can't pry it away from me. If I buy it, you can't take it back. And I was just over the moon. That maintained throughout. Oh my gosh. I loved Ragpicker King. I have a whole video about it. Yeah, I love it. I love. Next, we have Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is between Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version, and Could Have Been Great. I'll put it in Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version, I'm Feeling Nice. But it might be kind of like at the end of it, you know, right, the kind of the bridging gap. Next we have Sunrise on the Reaping, was one of my highest anticipated reads for this year. So excited. It was also, I think, the last book I formally reviewed on this channel. Get ready for a whole load of yapping after this. So Sunrise on the Reaping is All Too Well, Taylor's version. It was devastating, it was brilliant, I loved the messaging, all the bits, all the pieces, everything I love about a Hunger Games novel it had. It's not quite making it into Hall of Fame, but it is quite high up on All Too Well, Taylor's version. Next we have The Ballad of Never After, the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Nope. Hall of Fame. So, let me tell you a story here. I went away on a work trip with my colleagues and I took The Ballad of Never After with me. This work trip consisted, I think, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I went off with one of my work friends for an extra 2 days. I read The Ballad of Never After in 3 days while also being on a work trip. Oh my God, I love that book so much. I was actively looking forward to going back to the hotel to lie in bed for 2 to 3 hours and read the book. My colleagues were going out for drinks and like to pubs and stuff, even whatever after work. And I said, no, I'll take this dinner and then I will go back to the hotel because I have a book to read that I need to keep going in. I opened my heart to FOMO for this book. I absolutely blitzed through it and I get why people were so excited for the third book after that. It's, oh my God, I love The Ballad of Never After. It set off an incredible month of reading. I read The Ballad of Never After at the very start of April. I think literally April 1st to April 3rd was The Ballad of Never After. And I loved it so much that on the final day where I was going off with my friend, I went to the bookstore that morning and got A Curse for True Love so that we could have, you know what you do where you're like tired from the day, so you just silently coexist. Yeah, I was reading A Curse for True Love because I adored the series so much. Probably a bit more than Caraval, purely because of Jax and Evangeline. No matter what they were going through, I loved the dynamic, like the back and forth. I love them so much. And so A Curse for True Love is going in All Too Well, Taylor's version. It can't go in Hall of Fame because there's only one spot left. But oh my God, I love that series. In my heart, in my soul, all of it. If I could read it, like erase it from my brain and read it again, I would right now. Yesterday, actually. Highly recommend that series. It had me in a chokehold for a whole work trip week. Oh, and by the way, I finished A Curse for True Love in 2 days. Next, we have Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which is the second book in the Brown Sisters series. I also really love this book, so it is going in All Too Well, Taylor's version. Deserves to be so high up. It's right here, over my shoulder, peeking over my shoulder. I need to read the third book. I don't actually own it yet, so it'll actually be a while till I read it, but I love it. So this is a romance between Dani Brown and Zafir. The chemistry off the charts, the like mental health rep around, like Zafir is such a good guy and he basically runs like a rugby club for young boys to learn how to deal with their feelings healthily rather than bottle it up and therefore become like violent or anxious, upset in their adulthood. So it's just, I love everything that Zafir is going on. And then Dani, relationships have been ruined for her, so she doesn't think Zafir and her are actually in a relationship when they're literally like together essentially. Just them together. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. I really like Talia Hibbert's writing. Anything Talia Hibbert will write, I will read. Next we have Reckless, and I think can go in could have been great, but in the higher side. I like the bantery side of things, but a lot of it felt pointless. I'm also kind of struggling to remember what significant things happened in there. Not a good sign, because I only read it, I think it was April. I have Fearless, I own Fearless because there was a signed copy in my local bookshop, and so I had to get it, but I think the series is good, but not great. Next we have is Phantasma. Phantasma. First off, look at that cover. That is such a cool cover for such a mid book. I was so excited to read Phantasma. Like, I loved what I was hearing about it. I was so excited, and it let me down hard. First off, mini spoiler warning, I suppose. Lock your ears. Or if you don't care, listen. Page 1 spoils the whole book. Swear to God. There is no twist at the end. Page 1 it's supposed to be a snapshot of the end of the book and to give you a peek in, but it's literally the plot twist. And so I read that, the first page, and I went, oh, this is what's going to happen. Then I read the book and I got to the end where the plot twist was supposed to be plot twisting. And there it was, the thing I knew because of how the author set it up on the first page. So that took like predictability up to like 100, because yeah, duh, this was the plot twist, you told me. And I felt like the author thought they were being real clever. I don't know, maybe they were, maybe I'm just a spoil sport. Also, basically Phantasma is like Caraval but worse, in my opinion. A load of people online think it is the better version of Caraval. Bullshit, if you ask me. So Phantasma is where you sign up for deadly games in this like haunted mansion vibe, and each of the trials is based on a deadly sin. Is there 7? Feel free to correct me. So there are, say, 7 trials. The book is like 500 pages and you have to fit 7 trials in there? It literally was trial, main character shags someone, trial, main character shags someone, trial, main character shags someone. That's it. That sounds like your cup of tea. Go ahead. It is not mine. I like a meaningful trial, please. And oh my God, where is the slow burn? No, she doesn't exist in this book. Probably my biggest disappointment of the year so far. You never know. And I will not be reading the next one. It's out, Enchantra. I'll probably read a synopsis online, because just curiosity, but I'm not reading it. Next we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I will put this in Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. I feel like Great Big Beautiful Life is the epitome of Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version, because I really enjoyed it, really liked it. I actually listened to it completely on audiobook, which was fun, and I thought the narrator had a really nice way of narrating, but I know there is better out there, i.e. other Emily Henry books. Great Big Beautiful Life basically kind of followed 2 storylines. One was main character who is a journalist, is trying to land a job as biographer for this very famous woman who kind of turned like shut in and disappeared, 20 years ago, I don't know, from the public eye. And so it's a big like score for her to write this biography. But she's in competition with another writer and plot. Basically, they both have to stick around, do interviews with Margaret. At the end of like a month, Margaret's going to choose A or B, who's going to be the biographer. But slowly we start to see there's more to this, and Margaret might not be telling the whole truth. So there's a bit of a mystery element in here. It truly did give Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes, but there are some differences. First off, I found that Emily Henry was able to make me much more interested in the person's life outside of the interviews. So in Seven Husbands, there's the interviewer writing her story, but every time there was just her parts, I was like, skimming to get to the juicy Evelyn Hugo parts. Whereas in Great Big Beautiful Life, I was really enjoying the romance and the relationship between the 2 writers and the Margaret Ives story. So I feel like Emily Henry managed to do that portion a bit better. However, the Margaret story was much less juicy than Evelyn Hugo's. I see the comparisons, I do, but I still think they both stand as completely separate, really good books, and I think they have different strengths. Loads of people did not like Great Big Beautiful Life. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, Emily Henry is a romance writer. Do not listen to people online who are like, oh, Emily Henry is a women's fiction author who includes romance in their books. No. She's a romance author whose characters are real, whose characters have real flaws and personalities, and like it's not nearly as tropey as what you would imagine a romance author or like Wattpad style authors would be like, but she's still very much a romance author. You can't take her out of the romance genre just because you don't respect the romance genre and you like Emily Henry. Don't use women's fiction as a way to feel better about yourself for enjoying romance. Romance is fantastic. So like off that high horse. But anyway, side note, powerful. I think could have been great. No, Better Than Revenge. Right at the end. Again, that's another one that's on the cusp. Daydream and Powerful are really on the cusp of could have been great. I recently posted a Read With Me for a Week vloggy video, and I speak more about Powerful in there, so I'm not really going to get into it here. But it was good, but there are better books out there. So Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. Bloodmarks, also in that video, and if you've seen that video, you probably know that this belongs firmly up here. That book is fantastic. But let me just tell you to read that series. Like, it is, I reckon, one of, if not the best YA series to come out the last 5 years. Easy. It is in high contention for my favorite book this year. Like, just keep an eye. We'll see in December, but it's gonna be a really hard one to beat. Next, we have Careful of Books by Cassandra Clare. I reckon Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. It's a set of 4 novellas from Cassandra Clare, and it is also the Kickstarter I backed. I expected the novellas to be Shadowhunter based, and that was not the case. That is kind of on me because Cassandra Clare did actually tell us that it was going to be other stories, not Shadowhunter stories. But still, it was a part of a Shadowhunters Kickstarter, so I was a bit miffed about that. But once I realized that, yeah, no, I just didn't read it properly, and I probably still would buy it, just the whole Kickstarter. It's 4 books, I want them all. 4 novellas, one of them is Shadowhunters. It's about Matthew, and it was like the shortest story in there, which also I was like, come on, Cassandra, you're killing me. The 3 other were Sherlock Holmes fanfiction, Peter Pan fanfiction, and a sneak peek at Cassandra Clare's newest series coming eventually. The Sherlock Holmes fanfiction, I really enjoyed. I actually really liked it. It made me want to watch or read Sherlock Holmes. So, like, it was good. It was probably my favorite, actually, but I was not expecting it. The Peter Pan thing was a screenplay for a made-up Peter Pan TV show set in a different universe and blah, blah, blah. Good, but now I really want to know what happens after this first episode. You know, like, there was kind of cliffhangery bits, and I'm really intrigued. Cassandra Clare, give me some answers, or give me, like, a timeline of what you expect to go on here. And then In Fire Foretold is the last one, new series, and I'm excited for a new series. As I read the book, I was like, oh, this is so Cassandra Clare. All 4 of them made me miss her writing. So ironically, it was literally the 4th Cassandra Clare book of the year. But it made me just yearn for more Cassandra Clare. So it was good. Just think it didn't meet my expectations. Daisy Hates. I'll put it in All Too Well. Oh, no, not up there. Daisy, come back down. Or should I? That top line, I'll put it here. Because that top line is, they're pretty They're good ones. Daisy Hates is part of the Magnolia Parks universe. They kind of alternate and they're kind of not the same series. So it's Magnolia Parks and then you read Daisy Hates and you read the second Magnolia Parks and then the second Daisy Hates. Then the final Magnolia Parks, and I don't know if the final Daisy Hates is out or what the story is there. Or even if there is another Daisy Hates, I don't know because I'm only on the second book. Daisy Hates was quite good. I did listen to most of it rather than read the book. I quite enjoyed it. I really like the universe and the way it's all set up. I like reading about the characters even if they're not the best of people. Also, the two books kind of happen in tandem, which I didn't realize before I started Daisy Hates. I also have most of the series here already. I bought these when Jessa Hastings was doing a signing because I wanted her to sign most of the collection. I'll definitely finish the series of the ones I have and then we'll see after that what way I go. Next we have Problematic Summer Romance, my girl Ali Hazelwood, All Too Well Taylor's version. I loved this book. It was like an unofficial sequel to Not in Love. I liked seeing where my not in love couple were. I liked seeing Maya do her thing, and yeah, it was a great summer book. I read it on an airplane. So I was going to my summer holiday and that was a great book to have with me. So highly recommend. Again, I'm kind of biased towards Ali Hazelwood. I love her so much, so definitely read it. Next we have A Darker Shade of Magic, which I'm going to put also quite high up in Better Than Revenge. This book felt very 2015 fantasy. Yes, it was written in 2015, but there's just something about it that felt like that. I feel like I would have loved it as a teenager so much, but it's still really good, and I will continue with that series. Wow, Katie started another series. Woo. It takes a bit to kind of get used to the world. Oh, and also one of the reasons I got A Darker Shade of Magic a few years ago was because before Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare came out, people were ringing the plagiarism bell saying, oh my god, you copied V.E. Schwab. And I was very curious because obviously I love Cassandra Clare and Swordcatcher, and I wanted to see if people were correct. No, they were not, as usual, correct about that. The books are almost completely unalike. Obviously they have similarities, so the main characters are both called Kell. V. Schwab's Kell spells it with 2 L's. Cassandra Clare's Kell spells it with 1. Kell in Swordcatcher is a sword catcher, i.e. he catches swords for the prince. Kell in A Darker Shade of Magic is a magician who travels through dimensional Londons. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Look up the blurb if you're curious about what that means. That's it. Yeah, there's proximity with him and the prince. Like, him and the prince are ride or die for each other and like brothers. And so yeah, that's the same with the other Kell. That is it for the similarities. The worlds are nothing alike. Don't mind them. But A Dark Shade of Magic was quite good. I think I gave it near 4 stars. It was around 4 stars. And finally, the last book is Things We Never Got Over. It's gonna go in there as well. Things We Never Got Over. It was very bingeable. Which is surprising for a 500-page romance book. Actually, it was a 550-page romance book, which morally I am against. I do not agree with lengthy romance books. I don't think there is a need. But I'll allow it because I quite liked Things We Never Got Over. There were some bits that were a bit cringy. No offense. Lucy's score. The parts with the main female character being like, I need my coffee. Don't look at me. You're not espresso. Go away. There's literally a scene with her being almost killed and she's unconscious, and then she wakes up and she goes, coffee? Come on, why are we doing this? And then I checked and the book was written in 2020. What? That was something that was cool in 2016, you know? Like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. But other than that, I really enjoyed a lot about the two characters. I'm thinking 4 stars is a pretty fair rating. I highly recommend Things We Never Got Over, and I am going to continue the series. I think I kind of know where they're both going, but we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. And it's also really interesting to read a book where the main character like the male main character is over 40. That's not usually the age range I'm used to. He still acted like a 20-year-old man, so apparently the men don't change. So here's my lovely tier ranking. No shocks or surprises here, but those are my top 3, and we'll see if this shifts in December. Over time, my opinions do kind of change, or I see how well a book lasted in my mind. Like, did it get better over time or way worse? So we will see. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, here's another one that YouTube recommends, and I will see you next time.